Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. Now, here are your hosts, Lady Alba and Lord Knight.
We often tell people that there's two types of mysteries.
Yes.
There are traditional mysteries.
Okay.
And there are universal mysteries.
Yes.
Most of the traditional mysteries, we could pretty much tell you why it is.
Yes, and traditional mysteries, I think, vary a bit from tradition to tradition. Yeah, of course.
So once you understand how those mysteries work, I don't think you can ever unsee that pattern. Would you say?
I think that depends on the person. Okay. Because I feel like the revelation of a mystery affects people differently. Some people, when the components of a mystery is fully revealed to them, it may have been something they took for granted that they already kind of sort of knew.
Right.
And because they've taken it for granted, it really doesn't have the same impact. They've just sort of gone, oh, okay, well, that's a mystery. And then there are other mysteries that when they are revealed, they are so profound to the individual that, yes, there's no going back.
There's no going back.
You are.
No. We also have some of these mysteries where you learn one thing at first degree, and then at second degree, we sort of expand upon it.
Yes.
And then at third degree, the same thing might happen again.
Yes, because you're constantly reevaluating it and looking at it from a different layer of knowledge and a different spiritual connection. So, yeah.
So this sounds very clunky when we're trying to explain how these work, right?
Well, I think the explanation has to start with something that people already understand, right? Like, what is a universal mystery that people learn at a very young age or that they recognize at a very young age?
Gravity.
Okay. Yeah.
Every kid that's tried to walk.
Sure. There's also within each individual, for the most part, the capacity to understand that action or that physical activity will very likely result in me hurting myself.
Right.
Because of gravity.
Right.
So we know our limitations. So even though kids are far more daring, right, and they try things that are far more physical than we would as we get older, it's because of that innate sense of that limitation. We just sort of know what we can and cannot accomplish most of the time, you know, and that's, there's a mystery in that for sure. So then a traditional mystery
would be more like the Great Hunt.
The Great Hunt, the Great Rite, potentially. Yes. You have your literal mysteries surrounding initiations and surrounding the different markers throughout your life. Depending on the tradition, I also think it...
See, I always see the universals as the ones where you couldn't explain it until you went through it. Like initiation.
Okay.
I cannot sit here and explain to you what initiation's like. What it does, what it did for me the whole night. You with me?
Yeah.
The whole entire process. I can never explain that to them. Now, after the fact of what in the world was going on, what was happening, blah, 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 yes. But what was actually going on with the individual? How would you explain your first degree initiation to someone?
I don't... My answer to it has always been the same. I can no easier explain to you my initiation than I could my own birth.
Right.
How?
Right. But that's my point.
Yeah.
Those are those universal mysteries until you go through that process. Until you've done it. Until you've done that walk of 1,000 steps. You don't know.
Well, true. But I also feel like a lot of the mysteries of craft surround the polarities, right? The male and the female. And it would be really easy for me to sit here and say, oh, I understand the male mysteries because I've studied them or because no. I will never live the male mysteries. I don't know what that's like, but I do have enough knowledge to at least understand why it's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just don't have the same appreciation.
Correct.
As a guy would. I mean, it's vice versa. The female mysteries, why I know a lot of them, they don't
resonate the same way.
No, they don't have that impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every time I talk about them, if you notice, I talk more about how much the impact was on society at the time versus where you might speak a completely different way.
That's true. That's very true. The process of mysteries is fascinating because everyone, at some point in their studies, there is a mystery that you become fascinated with.
Oh, God, yes.
Obsessed. Just because, again, it was so meaningful to you. It's so important in your life and the lessons that you need to learn. But it almost in that initial moment feels like, I have to share this. I have to get this. Why doesn't everybody know this? Because they're not there yet. The same way you weren't there yet 24 hours ago. Calm down. It's okay.
I mean, we have one person to this day. She is still obsessed with the wheel of the year. And I'm like, no, there's no other mysteries there. No, you're circling around again.
Yeah. That's funny. That is really funny. But also, I think that certain mysteries just come down to oaths and the revealing of specific information.
Right.
That is held sacred within the faith. And that's really all there is to it. I heard someone talk about the Golden Dawn.
Right.
And the OTO, which was the some of the spin-offs of Crowley's teachings. And it's all esoteric magic. And there are 33 degrees inside of the practice. But the gentleman that was speaking on them said, in truth, you actually learn all the mysteries in the first degree, in the first year. But then, as you go, you're constantly revisiting them to get to the deeper layer, but the way he said it was fascinating. He goes, you go all the way around to come back to the beginning.
Yep.
To realize you already knew it. Yes.
You're sitting back. And I love it when your student does hit and they're like, wait a minute, but you told me this over a year.
Yep. Yeah. Sure did.
Yep.
And that esoteric explanation to me was brilliant because he was basically saying, look, there's nothing here that's going to unlock the keys to the universe for you. It's not that deep. Is it? Do we believe it's important?
Yeah.
But we're also not saying that these things are so incredible that we don't share it. We do share it. We share it very early, actually. We just might present it in a way that forces you to figure it out and think about it. Yeah. So I think that's it's pretty accurate. But there's always been the big debate, too, about the difference between mystery and miracle.
Right.
Are they different?
Well, are any of our mysteries actually hidden anymore?
A few.
A few.
A few of them are. Yeah. A few of them are because I'm pretty sure even today, if they were revealed completely publicly, completely openly, it would cause a bit of an uproar.
Well, I see somewhere it's like part of one over here and part of one over here. If these two ever connected up.
Well.
And you're sort of like, because I don't know if it's me, but I'm like, how can you not make that connection? Mm-hmm. Is it, I see the connection because I've already made it or?
Well, here's something I find interesting, right? So again, being raised Catholic, no one really knows what makes a bishop or a cardinal or a monsignor, right? Because that's the equivalent, right? We have our numeric degrees. The Catholic priests have different titles and achievements. But the general population has absolutely no concept in that religion of what makes someone one of those ranks. And it's not just a promotion. Let's be clear on that.
No.
There is a whole slew of spiritual mystery activity that takes place. I mean, going right up to the top, to the Pope.
Because what? They're let loose in the catacombs?
The Pope is literally referred to, believed to be, the living embodiment of Christ on earth. That did not happen
overnight.
Because a group of, a room full of 20 people went, that guy.
Yeah.
Him. No. There is a monstrous spiritual transformation.
Yes.
That's taking place. They're not revealing those mysteries.
Nope.
Now, but yet I feel like no one's fascinated with that.
No.
In our faith, it's everybody wants it now. They want it to be revealed. They want it to be out in the open. I want to know what it is. But nobody's sitting there going, how the hell did the Pope get to be the Pope? And don't give me the answer that he started, in this little church here and studied. No. What happened? What are the rituals involved?
What did he have to do?
Yes. And I find that wild. I'm obsessed with it. I was obsessed with it as a child. I remember looking at priests and going, why can't I be?
Why can't I do that?
A priest. That, my child, is a mystery.
Yes.
That was the answer I got. Well, I challenge your mystery and I raise you a whole lot of curiosity. But then also, the nuns get kind of shoved in the corner. They're less respected for their involvement spiritually. They are the brides of Christ. Are you going to tell me that doesn't hold some spiritual significance?
I mean, they got married.
Back in the day, right? People, this is not something that people often recall or think about. Back in the day, nuns of a certain order would actually wear a wedding dress, and they were literally married to Christ. They are the brides of Christ, and they would wear a wedding ring.
Yes.
It's wild. It's incredible. And I don't know whether in some ways I pity them or if I respect the ever-living shit out of them. That's some dedication.
Yes.
I have taken a husband who is not corporeal. I will never physically get to interact with him.
Nope.
But yet,
he married
my husband. Yeah. And that, you're going to tell me that there's not a significant spiritual component to that? Oh, fuck you. There is some major shit going on there.
I mean, seriously.
Major. Then we get, and then of course, again, there's that miracle component. What does that really mean? Is it just that, right? Did mystery just become a term for the things we cannot explain? Or is it really reserved for the things that we can explain, but somebody has to work toward to understand? I don't know.
I don't know either. Mm-hmm. I mean, because again, being traditionals, we get our case a lot out in the pub, gatekeeping the whole 9 yards. But these things aren't always as straightforward as y'all.
I think therein lies the problem. People think we're gatekeeping. They think that there's something that we are hiding. There's something that we are that when we say that's a mystery, we are preventing you from knowing. And therefore, in modern society, when, Google is right there all the time with the answers, they're like, what do you mean you won't tell me? Well, same thing with Google, though. I go, just because you can look up the schematics of how a rocket ship works doesn't mean you understand it.
No.
It doesn't mean you really know how that rocket flew. You just read the information that's readily available. Yeah.
There's a difference between reading and knowing about it
and experiencing it and being able to replicate it and
continuously.
Yeah. It's kind of wild.
So now I have to ask you, I'm not asking you, but that first time that ever happened, when you sat there and we sat there and told you, hey, you know what? We taught you all this at first degree.
Yes.
And we finally turned around and throw it back in your face. What was that? What did that feel like? What do you remember?
It's humbling. See, that's what was always interesting. It was humbling. For me, whenever someone said, that's a mystery, I didn't get upset about it. I mean, I might have pouted for like a second, but you know what I'm saying? I simply took it to mean, okay, you got work to do. If you want to know this, if you want to understand this, you clearly...
But I'm asking that first time that light bulb went off.
It still meant that to me. Still meant that to me, because what it meant was, okay, it was revealed to you, but you were too absorbed in other things to appreciate it.
Okay.
So what continual shedding, right, do I have to do to connect with it again and for it to be further? Because that was the implication. And I know what you mean. It can go any number of ways. There are the people who then step up and it's the ego that leads, and they're like, oh, I already know all this stuff.
No. Not really. You know it, but you don't understand it yet.
Yeah. You've been exposed to it, but you're still getting the basics. You're still getting the hang of this. And so, yeah, I think everyone's different in that, in how they react to those concepts.
Okay.
Mysteries are not meant to be barriers. I think that's the big thing.
No.
They're meant to...
I want to say they feel like more achievements.
Yeah.
Every time I've learned one, I'm like,
goal.
I'm proud of myself. It's a gold. I get a gold star.
Yeah.
I did this. Nobody else.
Yes. And that's it. They're meant to inspire you to want to put in the effort to learn them. Versus where I think a miracle is solely meant to inspire your belief in the divine.
Right.
And your belief in something greater than yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, mysteries are really all about you got to work for it. And it's not that we're trying to...
not do it.
No.
I mean, because I find myself even doing, I don't know about you, even people outside of our tradition, when I see them sit there and they're circling the drain, sort of to speak. And you're kind of like, if I just, come on, just another step forward. Then
it also, to me, is like, it's a very different time in our society. You know, like when we were kids and we had to do homework, your parents handed you an encyclopedia.
It said, have at it.
Read, figure it out. Come back to me with questions in 20 minutes. You know, it was that we forced kids to put in the work. Now, they don't have to do that. The internet and so many parents are so willing to just give their kids the answer. I find that part fascinating too. I'm like, they need to work for this. They need to learn it for themselves.
You need to fail.
Yeah. And so, again, we have a very different adult community where many have forgotten what it means to have to work to achieve something. And a lot of people, I think, also just go, I'm an adult now. I'm not in school. I'm not a kid. I'm not in college. I shouldn't have to do that. If I ask, you should answer.
Well, I mean, it's like one woman, I heard her on YouTube somewhere, and she's like, well, complaining. She's like, I got a college degree. And nobody will hire me because I don't have no experience. Is not my college degree experience?
No. Not at all.
That's knowledge.
Yep. Technically, when you are in a hospital, any doctor who is called an intern is still a medical doctor.
Yes.
They have graduated. They have their degree and their license to practice medicine. However,
they have someone breathing down their neck heavily.
Yes. They have to practically learn the things that they learned in medical school. And they spend a number of years as interns. And then they go from intern to resident. And that's how they become autonomous doctors.
I mean, that's how in the world you can go to your doctor that you've known for a little while going, oh, so it's a sinus infection. Here's your antibiotic, blah, blah, blah. All I have to do is hear you how you talk.
Yeah. but it's wild to think that, there's so many. I mean, I've met you. I mean, you worked in a hospital, young doctor. It's so funny. All they are is broke and in a lot of student debt, and goddamn are they tired because they're doing all the shit work that nobody else wants to do. And people think, oh, you're a doctor. You must make a lot of money. No, now I live with 7 roommates. But I'm a doctor.
Yes, that's quite a number of years later before that starts to happen.
Yeah. It's very true. And it's like that in a lot of fields. So I don't see craft any different. I do see it as something we strive for. And if we're not willing to strive, then
we're not willing to push ourselves.
Yeah.
Again, I like they're not barriers. They're achievements.
Yeah.
Go out and achieve some stuff.
Yeah. Put a little, how you measure your kids on a wall, I feel like we should do that. It should be like, you got witchling down at the bottom and, as you grow, you kind of, chart your progress.
Yes. What is it? Witchling, J-Wit.
Oh my God, that's great. Witchlet. Oh, shit. I love it.
More coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning.